You are
the best
25
views on
years
the
old,
entire planet.
suspended 2,000 feet above the rusted surface of Mars. The only thing separating you from the vacuum is a layer of glass and a suit that smells of recycled sweat. Inside the glass, just inches from your face, you see a world you are not allowed to touch. They drink wine and laugh in a lush garden, while you freeze in the silence outside. A red light blinks on your wrist. Your oxygen credit is running low. You panic, realizing you've spent too much time looking and not enough time scrubbing. You scramble up the slick curve of the dome, your magnetic boots thudding heavily. The air grows thin in your helmet, tasting stale and metallic. You throw yourself into the airlock just as your vision begins to tunnel. The hiss of pressurization hits you like a punch, reminding you that you are still alive. But your story didn't start here. It started 2 years ago in a recruitment center on Earth. You watched the red planet grow in the window, believing the brochures about a new beginning. On your first day, the bunk room felt like an adventure, not a cage. The suit was white and crisp, smelling of new plastic and promise. Your partner clapped you on the shoulder, both of you ready to build the future. Stepping out into the void for the first time felt like a religious experience. You cleaned the dust with pride, revealing the colony lights like uncovering buried treasure. Even the tasteless nutrient paste felt like a meal earned by honest work. You slept soundly, dreaming of the day you'd earn enough credits for citizenship. Then the first pay slip arrived and the math didn't add up. You told yourself it was just startup costs, just a temporary setback. By the 6th month, the wonder faded into a rhythmic, aching grind. You watched the children inside the dome play, realizing they looked through you like a ghost. You waved once, but to them you were just a shadow on the glass. The suit harness began to rub your skin raw, leaving permanent welts on your shoulders. Your partner shared their tape, a small act of kindness in a cold world. The white suit turned a permanent dirty red, stained by the ubiquitous dust. Yet there were moments of terrifying beauty, like sunrise over Olympus Mons. In the silence of the void, you could almost forget the meter ticking on your wrist. The overseer gave you a bonus ration, a crumb to keep the machine running. You savored the chocolate flavor, pretending it was real food. Back in the dorms, you huddled around screens, watching news from a home you left behind. You touched the digital green grass, feeling a pang of loss you couldn't name. Year 2 brought new taxes. Somehow you owed more now than when you arrived. You decided to work harder, taking double shifts to outrun the debt. You swung wider, moved faster, dancing on the edge of safety. You became efficient, a machine of flesh inside a shell of plastic. Sleep became a black hole you fell into, still wearing your boots. The lights in the worker sector flickered, reminding you of your place in the power grid. You dreamed of wind on your face, a sensation you would never feel again. Then the storm season hit, turning the sky into a wall of screaming sand. The wind battered you against the glass, threatening to snap your tether. Debris flew like shrapnel and you curled up, praying the glass wouldn't crack. The overseer didn't care about the weather. The quota was absolute. You patched your suit with duct tape because a repair kit cost a week's wages. Every shift became a gamble, your eyes glued to the gray tape holding your life together. By year 4, the interest on your travel loan had swallowed your future. You watched the rich inside enjoy their steam baths, wasting water you'd kill for. Your mouth was always dry, your water reservoir kept empty to save weight. One day, your partner slipped on a patch of ice near the ventilation exhaust. You caught them just in time, wrenching your shoulder with a sickening pop. The medic offered painkillers but refused to authorize surgery without credits. You swallowed the pills and went back to the hull, working through the haze. Pain became your constant companion, a dull throb in every wipe of the squeegee. Inside, billboards advertised premium air, mocking your shallow, recycled breaths. The dust seemed to fight back, clinging to the glass as if it hated you. The overseer just pointed at the numbers, his face hidden behind a visor of indifference. Year 6 brought the realization that you were never meant to win this game. Your partner whispered about strikes, about fighting back, but fear kept their voice low. The drones hovered closer, silent watchers that recorded every word. You felt their electronic eyes on you even in the emptiness of space. Your hands began to shake, a tremor that no amount of will could steady. The people inside never seemed to age, preserved by luxury and medicine. But the mirror showed you a stranger, gray and hollowed out by radiation. A micrometeorite strike cracked a panel, a tiny bullet from the cosmos. You were ordered to fix it manually, risking the high-voltage currents. Sparks rained over you, burning black spots into your suit. One spark pitted your visor, leaving a permanent flaw in your vision. For the next year, you saw the world through that scratch, a reminder of your fragility. You spent your life savings on a seal repair, starting from zero all over again. You stopped looking at the stars. There was no point in looking at things you couldn't own. You cleaned windows for diners who ate steak while you floated in nothingness. You watched them drop food, waste it, while your stomach cramped with hunger. The Mars lung cough started small, a dry hack that tasted of iron. The clinic dismissed it as standard exposure, giving you nothing. Gravity felt heavier every day, dragging at your weakened bones. Your boot slipped, a momentary failure that sent panic spiking through your chest. You saw the safety line was fraying, worn down by years of friction. You fixed it with stolen wire, knowing the company would charge you for a new one. Then came the day you were working below your partner on the upper tier. There was no scream, just the silent snap of a tether giving way. You watched them drift away, arms flailing in slow motion against the black sky. The silence of space swallowed them whole, shrinking them to a white speck. The overseer simply marked them as absent, a clerical error to be corrected. Their bunk was empty that night, a void in the crowded room. By morning, a fresh recruit was unpacking there, young and oblivious. You went back out and cleaned the same glass, wiping away the memory. You struck the glass hard, wanting to break it, wanting to scream. Inside, a couple took a selfie, framing your tragedy as a beautiful backdrop. You paid the memorial fee, a final tax on a life spent in service. Your hair had turned white, your body aged 20 years and 10. The routine became a hateful loop, a prison of wipe and move. The great storm of year 16 arrived, a monster of red dust. You were ordered to stay out, to finish the sector before the VIPs arrived. Debris struck your regulator, a sharp clang that vibrated through your skull. The hiss of escaping air was the loudest sound you had ever heard. You scrambled for the airlock, your lungs burning, vision graying. Your boot jammed, locking you to the hull as the air drained away. You wrenched your leg, hearing the bone snap, choosing pain over death. You collapsed into the airlock, broken and gasping, but alive. You woke up with a cast on your leg and a data pad in your hand. The bill for the rescue and the damaged suit was more than you could earn in a lifetime. You were declared unfit for duty and stripped of your contract. Drones escorted you out of the dorms, treating you like industrial waste. They pushed you into the freight elevator, sending you down, away from the light. The doors opened to the core, the slums where the failed workers go to rot. The air was thick, humid, and smelled of too many people in too small a space. You limped through the shadows, begging for water credits. You found work in the recycling plant, the lowest rung of the ladder. You sorted the trash of the people you used to watch through the glass. You slept in a coffin pod, knees curled to your chest, dreaming of space. Sometimes the fans failed, and the panic of suffocation returned. There were no windows here, only screens showing a fake looped blue sky. You missed the dangerous, beautiful view that had destroyed you. Years passed, and you became an elder of the deep, a ghost in the machine. You watched new recruits pass through, fresh meat for the grinder. You saw your younger self in their faces, full of hope and lies. You tried to warn them, but your voice was just a rasp of broken lungs. They walked past you, eyes fixed on the elevator, eyes on the sky. Your lung condition worsened. Walking became a marathon of gasps. The price of oxygen in the slums skyrocketed, a market fluctuation that meant death. You moved too slowly for the sorting line, and your pay was cut again. You sold the ring you had smuggled from Earth, buying one more week of breath. You sat by a public screen, watching the live stream from the upper dome. The rich residents toasted to their paradise, celebrating their triumph over Mars. In the background, you saw the tiny specks of the cleaners wiping the glass. You collapsed at your station, your body finally giving up the fight. They dragged you to an alley, leaving you where the drones wouldn't see. A child offered you water, a moment of grace in the dark. You told them about the stars, about how bright they looked from the hull. The child looked at you with pity. They had never seen a star. You realized the system didn't just use you, it consumed you completely. There was never a way out, never a path to the gardens above. Your tank gauge hit zero, the needle resting on empty. The lights blurred, halos of sodium orange fading into black. In your final moment, your mind took you back to the hull. The silence returned, embracing you like an old friend. You wiped a spot on the glass and saw Earth, small and blue and far away. You reached out, your hand heavy, trying to touch home. In reality, your hand fell to the dirty metal floor of the alley. A sanitation drone hovered over you, scanning for a pulse. It tagged your body as organic biomass ready for processing. Your remains became fertilizer for a tree in the garden tier. A rich woman smelled a flower from that tree, unaware it grew from your bones. High above, a transport ship docked, bringing thousands more. They stepped off with smiles, ready to build a new world. On the hull, a new cleaner clipped their tether to the safety line. They wiped the glass, watching the stars just as you once did. The camera pulls back, showing the dome as a tiny speck on a dead planet. Your story is over, but the machine keeps turning, fueled by those who dream of the sky.